Hello students and Assalamu alaikum once again. Let's begin the rest of the chapter which is actually left, and as you know, in the previous lesson we started chapter number 22, that is the nature of operations. So let's finish the second part of this chapter as well. So yeah, the first concept which is there, that is intellectual capital. Okay, you need to understand what is intellectual capital, and this is a past paper question as well, so do remember that. Actually there are three key components of intellectual capital. Let's have a look. Okay, it's an intangible part of capital, and following are the elements of it. Okay, first of all, you need to understand intellectual capital is part of the capital which we know. Okay, you need to understand that capital is something which is physical in nature, machinery, equipment, right? So we know about that capital. Okay, so this is also part of that capital as well. Although this is not the physical part of the capital, this is actually the intangible part. And when we use the word intangible, it means you cannot see it, you cannot touch it, but still it is considered capital as well. What are the three main elements of or components of an intellectual capital? Let's have a look. First is human capital. So the skill of the workforce, they are very well informed, they are experienced. So it actually gives you a competitive edge, okay, over your competitors. So this is human. This is not actually the human beings which are there. It is the skill of the human beings. It is actually the service which is provided by the well informed staff of your business. Okay, the experience the employees have and the way they deal their customers, right? So that is why this is an intangible part. So that is what we call human capital, and this is very very important. I told you earlier, if your employees are not skilled, they might not be able to give a customer the maximum level of satisfaction. Similarly, if the employees are not, or the staff members are not well informed about the product or about a particular brand you are selling as a business, they are not that much experienced. So obviously, they might not be able to give customers the level of satisfaction they desire, because it's not about the product now. It's about the experience customers will have, because we understand that customers visit a shop or a place to buy something, but before buying, they actually experience it. Okay, the environment, the people around it, how they are welcomed. So all actually is part of that. This is so buying is actually the whole experience. Okay, and good experience actually comes from skilled workforce, well informed employees, and experienced staff members. So, and this is what we call human capital. And so now you understand how important this is for any business success. The second component is structural capital, and it includes sound databases, processes, and information systems. So again, this is an intangible part. And sound databases, why they are required? Because you require something where you can store a lot of information, right? And what kind of information? Information about customers, information about employees, information about suppliers, okay? And so that whatever information you require, you can actually get it in a fraction of a minute, right? But for that, obviously, you require very efficient databases, right? Like SQL is one of the database which is used, which was used earlier, and MS Access is there, okay, which actually provides you a huge virtual space, okay? It's about a huge virtual space which is provided by that software. And you can actually, for example, if you want to know something about an employee, let's say the date of joining or the experience the employee has, so you can see it within a few seconds, okay, with the help of that database. Similarly, and for example, you want to assign something to an employee and you want to know the experience and the skill level or the what you can say, the efficiency of the employee. So you can judge it by looking at the database that okay, how was the past performance of that employee? Okay, so all would be available in that database as well. Like for example, if the employee was given certificate of appreciation in the past, the employee was awarded Employee of the Year award as well in the past. So you can have that in the database as well because you keep entering that as well so that you won't have, because if you have thousands of workers or even hundreds of workers, you might not be knowing every single worker personally. So for that, you require a database so that you can deal workers accordingly, or you can assign the tasks or the jobs to them accordingly. So and then there are processes and information systems. Yes, if you have very good information system. Now this is giving information to your employees, giving information to your supplier, to your customer. It needs to be a very efficient system because if it is not, so imagine a customer gives you an order and you actually are not able to communicate properly to with your employees, let's say, because of a poor information system. So there will be a problem. Goods will not be produced according to the demand or the requirement of the customers, or it may not be produced timely. Similarly, if the customer gives you an order and you are not able to get that the order or that information provided by the customer, like the specification of the product, if you do not receive it in the right way or at the right time, again there's a problem there because there will be a delay there. So this is also part of structural capital. Processes, again, you have efficient methods to deal with clients. If it is a, let's say, service business, okay, or employees, they actually have to wait for a long time to get their turn. Similarly, if I talk about manufacturing business, again, it's all about processes as well. How quickly you actually the product goes through various processes as well. So it actually gives the business a competitive advantage, efficiency, and obviously, in the end, higher profits as well. The third is relational capital, that is good links with suppliers and customers. So it means that if you have very good relationship with your suppliers, so you can get the goods even at a short notice as well, right? Because if you do not have a good relationship, so you might ask for a certain um, order, like for example a certain quantity of goods, but supplier may say you that right now we are booked, fully booked actually, and your demand cannot be met, so you have to wait for some time. But you cannot wait because you have given a deadline or a final date to your customer as well, no? So it will spoil your image as well as a business. So if you have good links, you might be able to solve that problem as well. Similarly, if you have good links to your customers as well, so even the customers can tolerate your small mistake. For example, if it is quite possible now that maybe a business makes a mistake, or the employees they make a mistake in delivering the right order to the customer. Okay, or something is conveyed which is actually incorrect to the customer about a product, for example, and this is not, let's say, that was not intentional, but it happened. So customer can bear that. Why? Because if customers, they have very good links with the businesses, so they are relationships, so they can ignore that as well because they know that in the past they provided them with best of the service. Similarly, if you have good links as well, it will be easier to sell your goods as well. Like let's say as a business you come up with a new product and you look for customers to sell it. So if you have good customer links, you can tell those customers, and those customers, if they do not buy, for example, they can spread a good word of mouth and then can spread that information to other people as well. And who knows that you may get potential customers from those groups of people as well. So it will help a business to sell well as well, and especially for new products as well. So three key components are there in intellectual capital: human, structural, and relational. All right. So moving onwards. Now, this is again a past paper question. How intellectual capital can increase the value of a business? Or you can say importance of intellectual capital, although I have explained you in the previous slide what is the importance of intellectual capital? If this is a question, what you can do, you can actually explain the significance of each element of intellectual capital here. Like you can talk about human capital, structural capital, relational capital, and you can talk about the the advantage they actually give to the business. Okay, let's talk about the general advantages of intellectual capital here. The first is increases the goodwill on the balance sheet. Like, for example, if you have a very good, well informed staff, for example, okay, this is human capital, and customers, they are very well satisfied every time they visit that business or shop, right? So it means it will spread a very good image in the near vicinity, okay, or among the consumers or the people around, right? Okay, who might have an intention to buy your product. So when there is a good reputation, you actually earn a goodwill, okay, and that goodwill can be shown on your balance sheet as well, because goodwill is considered as an asset. Do remember that. All non-accounting students, they need to know about it. Goodwill is an asset. Goodwill is just like a reputation, okay, a good image, okay. You can show it in your balance sheet. For example, let me explain you. You are running a very good business and you have a very strong customer base. All customers are very loyal to you. They never switch to other brands, right? So when somebody, for example, buys your business, for example, and let's say the total worth of your business is 10 lakh, for example, I'm actually keeping it very simple, but you are able to sell it at 11 lakh, okay. Now that 1 lakh, which is over and above the actual worth of the business, that is a goodwill, because the business has earned a good reputation among the consumers or the people around. That's why that extra amount, that 1 lakh, will be the goodwill, and it will be shown in the balance sheet of the business as an asset. And you know that asset is actually the strength of the business, okay, and it improves the net worth of the business as well. So this is one advantage of it. Second, it can be a source of distinctive comparative advantage. Yes. So you have, let's say, you have very good. If I talk about, let me just go back to the previous slide so that I can refer it to you as well. Like, for example, I talked about human capital earlier. Now I can talk about, let's say, structural capital. So as a business, you are able to access your customers quickly. You are able to meet the demands of the customers easily, because you are able to receive the request sent by the customers very quickly, and you start acting upon it, or you start sending it to the desired department employee or the manager, right? Because you have so sound database or information system there. So obviously the customers will always be pleased that whatever the deadline which is given to us by the business, they always meet it, okay. So they are never late. So this can give the business a competitive advantage, okay, or a USP as well. And because of that, the customers actually become loyal, and they might be willing to pay even a higher price as well, that will lead to higher profit being earned by the business as well. It strengthens the brand as well. Yes, it actually strengthens the brand, mean that it actually makes a brand strong in terms of its image, right? So it means that now, even for your new products, if you use the same brand, so it is highly likely that the product will be sold successfully just because of that brand, because it has now become so strong because of your intellectual capital, that people may like to buy that new product as well, because that product has a brand name similar to the previous products the business was selling earlier, right? So this is how business will be able to sell variety of products as well. Okay, it helps the business to go for brand extension. And brand extension is, we discussed earlier as well, that you develop new products, but you use the same brand for it as well. I told you earlier, like for Lay's, they say that it's a product of Pepsi Cola. Why they say it? Why they know that the worth of the brand Pepsi is huge. So when people see, okay, when they actually started selling Lay's, So maybe at the start, people they were confused whether to buy Lay's or not. But when they actually looked at the packaging of Lay's and they realized that okay, it is made by the old company, the same old company, Pepsi. So obviously now, there was no confusion at the time, and then people started buying it. This is how you can use that brand name, and if your brand name is strong enough, and it can be made strong with the help of your intellectual capital as well. Okay, all right. So now again, this is a past paper question. Contribution of capital, including intellectual capital, to the effectiveness of business operations. Now it's a question about, in simple words, you can say how advantageous the capital is for the business. So when they only use the word capital, it means that you can talk about the physical capital as well. The capital we actually know about it, like we talked about it earlier as well. Machinery, equipment, okay, the physical nature or physical part of the capital, or that intangible part, that is the intellectual capital. You can talk about both of them. So there is no harm in it as well. It will still be considered as relevant. So now let's talk about it, and you will see that there will be many points where we'll talk about physical capital, and there will be some point where we'll be talking about the intangible part of capital, that is intellectual capital. So both are absolutely correct, and you can get full marks for that. Now, first is makes a significant contribution to the production of goods and services. Yes. So if we talk about physical capital, yes, with the help of machines, you are able to produce more in less time, right? And the workers are able to make less mistakes when they use machinery or operate different equipments. So this is possible, okay? But here you can talk about intellectual capital as well. That if you have efficient methods of production or processes, again you are able to produce more, and the quality of the good will be intact. It will exactly be up to the standard which is there in the organization, or which is the requirement of the customer. Second is finance is required to buy raw material at the right time of the right quality as well. So in business, money is also part of capital. You know that finance, okay? Again, that is physical part of the capital. Equipment, machinery is also part of capital, we know, and finance is also part of that capital. So we require finance, or we require capital in the form of finance to buy raw material. And you know that without the help of raw material, you cannot produce anything. And you do not only require raw material, you want raw material of the required quality, so that the quality should not be compromised. Because if poor raw material or poor quality raw material is bought because you do not have enough finance, then obviously you cannot produce a good quality product to satisfy the customer to the maximum level. So this is also capital, right? Then we have helps business to produce the required quality. Again, you can talk about physical capital or physical part of the capital. It's up to you, okay? So it's not that difficult, because like machines, they are likely to make less mistakes. So that is why the quality remains the same throughout the organization. If I talk about capital intensive business, okay, where more of capital is used and less of labor is used, right? So if the business is capital intensive, or there is capital intensity, it means that more or less the goods will be of the same quality. And that is why we call it standardized goods. In capital intensive production, we use that term, standardized production. And that means that the quality of all the goods is the same. And this is actually an advantage for a business. The customers say that every time they buy the product, they find the product of the same quality. So it actually leads to a very good brand image of the product as well, and earns consumer loyalty as well. Okay, so then we have intellectual capital can give the production process a competitive advantage as well. Yes, it is possible that if you have such efficient processes as well, that you are able to produce quickly. Similarly, it's not only about the processes, it's about the databases as well. I told you earlier as well. Okay, you have. So if you have very strong databases where you have lots of data about customers as well, and it's efficient one as well, that you are able to deal the or entertain the requests of the customers quickly. So obviously it gives you a competitive advantage as well, because if customers requests are actually met quickly, um, obviously the customers are likely to contact the same business again and again, because who actually is not happy when their orders are actually um, given to them timely, or maybe way before the time. Okay, so then we have yeah, production. Now, so we have talked about the various advantages which capital can give to the business, or the effectiveness of business operations. Like I told you earlier, effectiveness means meeting the objectives, right? So here, if operation management wants to achieve their targets or objectives, they need the help of capital, either in the form of structural capital, human capital, or relational capital, or this is the intangible part of the capital, or it could be the other part of the capital, that is the physical part of capital. So it could be finance as well, it could be equipment and machinery as well. So all types of capital helps the business to achieve their targets, especially the operation department, to achieve their targets. That is why it's written effectiveness of business operation, right? So capital helps operation department to meet their targets. Then, now production, productivity, and efficiency, you need to understand that as well. Production, you understand that how many goods are produced the by a business, or by using all its resources, or the amount of labor available, or what amount of service is provided to the customers by all the staff members, let's say, or by using the available resources. This is production. You know about it. And productivity is that output produced by one unit of a resource. It could be capital, that how many goods are produced using one particular machinery in a given time period, or how many units are produced by one worker in a day. So this is productivity. Okay, output produced by one worker. This is labor productivity. Output produced by one unit of machinery. That is a capital productivity. So you understand this. Okay. So production is when we talk about in total. Productivity is when we talk about the output of one unit of a factor of production. And in that case, capital or labor. But here, because we are talking about operations, we can talk about labor as well and capital as well, because both are directly involved in the production process. Productivity leads to efficiency, because when let's say if I talk about workers, workers are able to produce more, for example, so it will lead to efficiency. Efficiency means that they will be able to produce uh, way before the time given to them. Okay, if they are efficient, if they are trained enough, they are able to use machines, equipments as well, or uh, production methods which can help them to go through that production process quickly. So now, so production, productivity, and efficiency, they are interrelated. Okay, if productivity is greater, obviously it will increase your production and efficiency as well. Simple as that. If workers have higher productivity, you are able to produce more, and you will be able to achieve efficiency as well. You will be able to complete um, the units of output earlier. Okay, and uh, cost can be saved as well. Why cost can be saved? Because now you might not require 10 workers, even 5 workers might be able to produce the output of 10 workers. So it means that you can save the next 5 workers, the additional 5 workers, right? So you do not need to pay them wages, and that can lead to lower average cost as well. And that is also called efficiency. So it means that when you manage time well, this is also efficiency, and when you manage your wastage as well, this is also called efficiency. Okay, ways to improve productivity. Now, how can you improve it? Improve the training of staff. I told you earlier, staff are so trained now after the training that they do not make mistakes, and they do their job very quickly. Okay, so it will lead to higher productivity. Purchase more technological advanced equipment. We discussed that. I'm not going to talk about it because machines can work 24 hours a day and they do not require rest time as well. So they do not get sick. Yes, although yes, they can break down as well, but they do not uh, um, um, stop working every now and then. Okay, so that's why they will be high productive. Improve employee motivation. Yes, if workers are very down and out and they are not happy with the working conditions or with the amount of wage they get or with the way they are treated there at the workplace by the management. So if you make changes in it, you provide them an ideal environment and you establish a good relationship with all the workers as a manager. And you provide them with reasonable amount of wage as well. So employees get motivated, and when they are motivated, they work to their potential. They are focused. They do not waste their time, resulting in more output being produced by every worker. So that is leading to uh, higher productivity as well. Then more efficient management in that case. So yes, sometimes you need to hire experienced managers who know how to allocate resources because it's not all about workers. Although we know that workers are directly involved in the production process, but managers are there who allocate jobs to workers, who supervise workers, who guide workers, support workers. So if managers are efficient, they are trained, they can guide workers whenever they have a problem, and they will allocate jobs to those workers only in which they are the most suitable. So this is how productivity can also be increased. So they can reduce the wastage to the minimum level. That is also done by efficient managers who are experienced in this particular field. That is, let's say, operation management. Okay, then a very important concept that is efficiency and effectiveness. So although I did discuss about it, but I'll explain it here as well. Efficiency is, I told you, when you manage your time well. Okay. Effectiveness is when you are able to meet your target. Now, I'll give you an example. I normally give that example to many of the students, and because this is very simple and relevant example to you. For example, if I give you 5 questions to do in 1 hour, one student is able to do it in 40 minutes. So I'll say to that student, you are efficient because you manage the time so well, right? But when I actually check those questions, all 5 questions are incorrect. So now I'll say, yes, you were efficient, but you were not effective. So it means that effectiveness is directly related with meeting objectives successfully. So if a candidate or a student attempts all 5 questions within an hour, okay, and attempts all questions correctly or in the way desired by the teacher or the examiner, then we'll say that the student was efficient as well as effective as well. So we need to understand both are essential. If worker is efficient but not effective, it will be of no use at all. Because let's say the objective is to produce the right quality. So if worker produces quickly and able to produce it at the right time, but the quality is not up to the mark, so the business will not be able to sell it. Even bad image will be spread. Customers will be annoyed. They won't come back to the business again, right? So efficiency and effectiveness both are required. So you need to manage your time well, manage your resources well, and along with that, you need to meet the targets given to you as well. Either it is in case of operation manager, it can be a quality target, it can be a quantity target as well, right? So importance of efficiency to the to business is, I told you, both are um, um, together. They are part and parcel of efficiency and effectiveness. Okay. So importance of efficiency is what? Greater added value. Yes, you can add value. Like for example, if you are able to produce good quality products, so you are able to charge higher price as well. So when you charge higher price, it will lead to greater added value because I told you and you know about it that added value is the difference between selling price of finished products and the cost of raw material. So if you produce high quality products or you produce products to customer satisfaction, you are able to charge a higher price and customers will be willing to pay for it. So value will be added and it may lead to later on higher profits as well because you will be able to cover the rest of the expenses as well because of that greater added value. Then lower unit cost. I told you earlier, because you manage your time so well and you are able to produce more. So rather than hiring 10 workers, only 5 workers are sufficient to produce the same level of output. So you can save on those workers. You do not need to hire those workers, the additional 5 workers. So, and you do not need to pay them the wage as well. So wage cost will be reduced, leading to lower unit cost as well. Higher productivity. Again, you understand, but now we will not relate it with lower unit cost because it's a different point. Otherwise, it will be considered by the examiner as the same point. So we'll link higher productivity with meeting the demands timely. Okay, if there is a sudden demand because of higher productivity, you will be able to meet that as well. Okay, and you do not need to refuse customers. It will make them loyal to you. Can make it a USP, yes. So if you are efficient enough, so you can that is unique selling proposition. You know that a distinctive image or a competency which can give you a comparative advantage. The USP can be anything, but because we are talking about operation management, so it has to be the efficiency and effectiveness. That you all the time you are able to produce the right quality, and the right quantity at the right time. So this can be a USP. Think about, let's say, a restaurant business. You visit a restaurant, and obviously you visit at the time when you are hungry. Obviously, you do not visit a restaurant 3 hours before that when you get hungry, right? So you visit a restaurant and you wait there. You give an order and you wait there. So if and you think so that maybe in 40-45 minutes the order will be served. So, but if it is served within 20 minutes or 25 minutes, you will be overjoyed, na? Obviously. So obviously that, and you will consider that as a USP of that restaurant, and you may like to come again and again to that restaurant because the food is served so quickly. Whenever I am hungry, I do not need to wait for long. Okay, and even if you are with your guests, again your guests will be satisfied as well because they do not have to wait for that long. Especially if I talk about weekends when where there are lots of customers there in restaurants, and sometimes you do not even get a space to sit around and you have to wait for a very long time. So that could be an advantage for a business as well in that case. And that is also efficiency, right? The restaurant business was able to manage time so quickly. Their workers are so productive that they are able to produce the let's say able to cook the food at the right time, or within 20 minutes or 25 minutes. But the taste is also not compromised, right? Because taste is linked with effectiveness. Because the objective is not only to serve the food quickly to the customers, it's about keeping the quality the same, or which is desired by the customers who visit the restaurant. Right? All right. So this is chapter number 23. So we are done with chapter number 22. So if you have any question, you can ask me in the face-to-face class. Thank you very much. See you in the next class.